chili. All on my mind is to get more millies. Niggas talk shit, they silly.
Is brought to you by the Officer Tatum Store. The Officer Tatum Store, get the merch link in the description section. Put in Adam 2030 and you will get 20% off the entire store. Ladies and gentlemen, we got these beautiful hats. This is my favorite. I know the green screen gonna kill it, but this hat is the most comfortable, flexible, breathable hat that we've ever made. I can't believe we got a hold to some of the best hats in the country by far. Anyway, LeBron James. I try not to call people names. I'm trying to be all good. You know, Dion that I interviewed, the police officer from L.A. that I interviewed, he was so modest, and he was, you know, he made me think, like, should I be calling these people names? And that lasted probably while he was on the call. Now I'm back to calling names. I don't want to call people names, but they're pulling it out of me, right? They're making me go crazy. LeBron James made a reference to an increase of the N-word being used on Twitter since Elon Musk took over. Now, let me just say this. Elon Musk, when he took over Twitter, he instantaneously, he's not sitting down there changing the algorithm. There's a lot more things that he has to do as the CEO than worry about algorithmic change. He has to deal with directors. He has to deal with people in the C class. I say C class, C-suite is what they call it, the C-suite. And so I guess he was dealing with that. He fired the CFO, the CEO. He started going through and putting these people down. I think he did that before he ever thought about censoring words. But let me add this. LeBron James got on a tweet and was crying about the fact that people were using the N-word on Twitter and assuming that he's going after Elon Musk and saying he needs to do something about this. Now, LeBron James probably uses the N-word 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. LeBron James listens to music. We got a recording of a song. We can't play it on the radio. We got to play it on the YouTube channel. A recording of a song that he's lip singing to or even rapping that's saying the N-word multiple times.
Chili, all on my mind is to get more millies. Niggas talk shit, they silly.
But how is it that you're offended by the N-word being used by bots and trolls on a Twitter channel that you never saw? I guarantee you LeBron James haven't seen one N-word being used on the platform. But he heard that people were using the N-word from an article that was said, which he never witnessed, but then he had an opinion about it as if the N-word is hurting his feelings and it's a detriment to black people. Let me say this because nobody else is willing to say it. The N-word has no power. I think that it's ignorant. That's why I won't say it. And there's certain restrictions on the radio. You can't say it. But it has absolutely no power and effect on black people in America today. Absolutely zero. If a person came up to me today and said, you ain't nothing but a dirty N-word. Now, mind you, black people say that to me all the time. But just hypothetically, if a white person were to come up to me and say that, what value does that word have against me? None. Just like if the man came up to me and said, you ain't nothing but a fool. You ain't nothing. If he said, you gay. Let's say if he wanted to use gay as a derogatory term. And he said, you're gay. You're a gay guy, Brandon. It's like, first of all, I'm not gay. So what you're saying has no relevance in my life. Second of all, I'm not an N-word. So it has no relevance. You say I'm a fool. I'm probably one of the most educated people that's doing this. And it has no bearing. So none of the words that you say that do not apply to me have a bearing or an emotional attachment to me, and I do not care. Disrespect is the part that gets you in trouble. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, and are you doing it in a disrespectful manner. I grew up my whole life saying the N-word, N, 45 times a day. And if I was listening to rap music, it's 1,000 times a day. So I understand that black people in many cases are complete hypocrites when it comes to the N-word. Let me give you a scenario. You got brothers in Chicago and other places around the country. When I say brothers, I'm saying black folks that do drive-bys and kill other people. And they rap about them, and black people buy their rap music and celebrate them. But that's another story. They kill people listening to rap, yelling out racial slurs to each other. They want you to believe that black people, because supposedly they took the word back, that black people call out the N-word and it's only for a term of endearment. You must be smoking crack to think that. No pun intended. You must be smoking crack. Black people use the N-word for terms of endearment, which is stupid, but they do it. I used to do it. They also use it as derogatory terms. When they're busting caps in the middle of the day, they're not saying the N-word because they like you. They saying the N-word because they want to kill you, and they believe it to be a negative word. I know for a fact that it's not a one-track word for black people. It's not like the only time they use it is something happy. No, many times is I'm going to kill that N-word, F these N-words, all of the above. You a dirty N-word, all of the things, F your set, whatever. And they use these racial words to the point of no return. And you got to think, if you were a black man that died in the I don't know when they would be even using the N-word, but let's say you're a black man that died in the 30s, 20s, right? Or even before that, say you a little bit before that, late 1800s. You was a black man that died in the late 1800s, which I believe that probably the N-word was used in a much more derogatory manner. Just say that man died and passed away, and they were able to bring him back to life, resurrect him to today. And they set him in a room and they pulled up a chart, and it says the usage of the word "nuh." Y'all know what I'm saying, the N-word. The usage of that word, right? And they said white people, black people. And that man will probably die again when he find out that black people use the N-word at an incredibly high rate, both privately and publicly, compared to white people. That black man will probably pass away at the betrayal of black people to him, knowing that it was such a derogatory term that black people wouldn't dare use against each other. Then I'll bring out the murder rate, and I would show him the murder rate and say, this many black people have died at the hands of murder in this country. He would probably tear up and say, that's sad, I can't believe it. And then when I show him that the people who are murdering them, 98% of them are black people, he's going to die again. It's going to be his third death. Because once our ancestors realize how we're treating each other today, when they were dying to live back then, it will drive an ancestor insane. And people like to talk about our ancestors and say, "Oh man, our ancestors were slaves." Look. You didn't kill more black people. Y'all done kill more black people in this generation than the white man could ever dream of. Then kill more black people have died in a 6-month period. You can look at a 6-month period than the entire history and legacy of lynching recorded in America. The entire recording. It was 3,400, I believe, 32 or 3,400 lynchings recorded in the 68 years of
30.
lynching in America. And more than that many black people die in a 6-month period today. You explain that to me. Hold the phone. If you're calling in, I'll get to you after the break.